Yes, good evening, everybody. So today is the last day of the discussions as part of the panorama section of the NIFFI, that is Nila International Folklore Film Festival of India. And it's really delight. We are really delighted to inform you that today we have got two great personalities face to face, and one is Mr. Ranajit Ray. Uh, he's the director of the film Clay Images of Kumartuli, and Kumartuli. Kumar means it refers to the potter's cast. Most of you must be knowing. Even in our language, Malayalam, Kumbharan or Kumbharan, in a local slang, we used to say that. So it's all Kumar, Kumbhar, Kumbharan, and all. Be that as it may, Mr. Ranajit Ray, he is an alumni of FTII. He did his cinematography from there, and then in addition to photography, he has been directing, producing, and many fiction and non-fiction works, and he has won many prestigious awards, like the Rajat Kamal, the National Film Awards twice, and his film has been also included in the Indian Panorama section. And in addition to being a director of many documentaries, he has also been functioned as a director of photography for many Indian and foreign production houses. And definitely his film, those who have seen the film, I mean, it will be an unforgettable experience, the life of the Kumartuli people, that I mean, artists, their artistic talent and all that. And I have great delight and pleasure in introducing you to Mrs. Anita Agnihotri. She is a multifaceted personality. She is an eminent Bengali writer, and she retired as a very senior civil servant, that is in the rank of Secretary to Government of India. And despite her busy official schedules and all that, and even before that, right from a child, she had exhibited her talents. And in fact, she was a child prodigy, if I may describe her, because as a child, one of her poems was published in Sandesh, the famous magazine by none other than the maestro of Indian cinema, or rather the world cinema, Satyajit Ray. And since then, she hasn't turned back. The spark, it spread, kept spreading. And despite her constraints of time devoted to official duties and all that, she has been a prolific writer. And she has written so many poems. She is a well-known, acclaimed novelist, and she has churned out many short stories. And she is a children's writer. And besides all this, she is a very concerned and down-to-earth human beings. Perhaps I would value that particular quality more than all this extraordinary talents, because she is always sided with the common people, and she has tried to, and she believes in the human relations, and she has always tried to bring out the voices of the unheard, voices of the marginalized and underprivileged voices. And Anita ji, she has authored more than 40 volumes. And even now, and NIFI would like to extend her special thanks, because due to certain unforeseen developments, we could not get the person who was assigned to do this today. But and so in a frantic situation, I approached her, and she very graciously agreed, and we are really indebted to you, Anita ji. And so welcome to you both, ma'am. and
Thank you. Thank you.
Ranajit ji.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Then maybe I leave the floor to you both, and
Yes, yes.
Ranajit ji. So my official duty is over, and I'll come in the towards the end or whenever it is required. I would definitely
Okay.
step in. So please, Ranajit ji, you can start about your experience, sharing your experiences of the film and all that. Please, over to you. Thank you.
Well, to talk about the experience of the film, I started working on it in 2012, and I worked for 2 years continuously at different seasons and different time of the day. And as I was going on with their plights of this Kumartuli image makers, I realized that though this uh, images are being worshipped all over Bengal and outside the Bengal also. And there is a huge amount of money spent and lots of what you call that commercial support or sponsor support comes in terms of celebration. The life of these people who are making these beautiful images are almost in the same state as it was in, say, maybe 150 years ago. The same thing, same place, same shanty kind of living, and they are always in debt, meaning that whatever money they take from the uh, what do you call that lenders, they are at the end of the day they are it is very difficult for them to pay them back, and they are always in debt. So I found that in spite of all the grandeur and the celebration and the bright lights what we see when the celebration is on inside the city, these people are always in the darkness. Many of them actually at the end of the season they are uh, it's very difficult to get the food for 2 times a day. So it was the plight which I wanted to bring in, but at the same time also I wanted to bring in the film the art of making this idols, no, how from a simple this thing, this what you call the simple structures, they gradually build up so beautiful images, no, which are not only what you call that it reveals or evoke the emotions in your mind as a goddess, but also it's a work of art at point of time. So I think I found it is relevant to bring in the plight of these people, and more people watch it and discuss about them. Probably there will be some kind of hope for them if anybody comes in and try to solve their problem, because there were many government policies which were developed during left front government, meaning before this government of West Bengal, now it is running. Before that they had a left front government, and they had a lot of policies for them. They wanted to make Kumartuli a tourist hub where the tourist will come and they will have a different layers of structures where this thing idol makers will be on the ground floor and the first floor will be a museum and things like that. But nothing has materialized. They were very hopeful that this will happen, and some of the sections of Kumartuli was also broken or dismantled because those things started happening, but later on they realized that the entire land belongs to somebody else. It is not a government land. It is a private land, and those people who are owning the private land, they don't want to shift their ownership to the government. So there was a lot of problem like that. So that has not been solved till today. So this was actually for me it is an old film in a sense that it was awarded a national award in 2014. But beyond after that I visited the people I met. They have grown up. Many of them young people have grown up, and many of the old people have died who are in the film. Some of them have died. A number of them have died, but their condition has remained the same. So this is what actually pains me a lot. I always feel that uh, Yeah, yes, they should be rewarded with much more. They should be given a much more opportunity to live a better life.
At this point, Mr. Ray, uh, I would like to introduce myself and also discuss with you about the film. Apart from the process of making the experiences, there is some commonality between what you experienced while making the film and I did a little before, because my book was written sometime around 2001, just exactly 2 decades back. Kolkata Pratima Shilpira, as it is called in Bengali. And first of all, I thank Mr. Vijayan and Siddharth for inviting me to this very interesting platform where you work for preservation of folklores around a river, which is again my common interest because I'm interested in people's oral history and rivers, and also giving me an opportunity to meet Mr. Ranajit Ray, a very distinguished filmmaker, face to face. And I also would like to share with all of you that, this being in civil service gives one very interesting opportunities, which are often not predictable. Like when I was working in Kolkata, the government of West Bengal then planned to set up as an institution for social communication and filmmaking. It is, you must be knowing, Mr. Rai, it is called Rupkala Kendra.
Yes, I know.
It was taken from the ideas of Satyajit Ray, who wanted that a group of team of young boys and girls should come, who would be familiar with the latest technology in making film, but at the same time should be able to take the inputs of filmmaking from the people. And this process led to the kind of setting up of Rupkala Kendra, where I, as a civil servant who had no idea of filmmaking, I not only dealt with different academic courses, because we taught making of films through teaching of social communication, direction, editing, cinematography, and also we used to produce short documentaries and then take them back to people for seeing. It was very interesting because film used to be taken back to the villages where people would see and give their comments. You know what, I was thinking that I really felt, I felt very sad and I felt really good seeing your film. I was watching the film and it's such a beautiful film. You have captured so effortlessly the different times of the year, the sight and sound of the city, the natural sounds, and there's also very beautiful music. And it doesn't appear like a film. I'm mentioning all these things for the viewers, especially because, yes, as you have read in Vibhutibhushan Bandyopadhyay, Rabindranath, there are a lot of tragedy and sorrows in people's life, but that is not all. There has to be a way of sublimation, but anyway, the beauty has been captured in your film so that whoever sees it, I didn't feel I'm seeing a film. It is almost like taking a walk through the city along with the director of the film. And it is a film by a cinematographer, a very distinguished cinematographer. So it has its own beauty because during my time, I had two very distinguished cinematographers assisting us in setting up Rupkala Kendra. One was Gautam Ghosh, who was himself a person who was himself instrumental in setting up the center, along with me and my team. And other one was Shominder Roy, who had worked with Satyajit Ray for a lot of time. He was not only teaching, but also interacting with students in their practical demonstrations. And I have seen how beautifully a cinematographer can express, as a director. Of course, the film also has very nice editing, and it is a very, very nice orchestra, very beautiful teamwork. But, coming back to the thing you were saying, I did study a bit of economics in my college days. And what I found, it is extensively written in my book. Not only the entire informal sector, but the entire Kumartuli. I mean, my book is, of course, not only on Kumartuli, it is on the entire Kolkata image makers. And I have tried to capture the lives and livelihoods of people who are associated with, which you have also shown in the film. Because from bringing of hay, bringing of clay, bringing of, making the ayuds or the weapons or the dresses, this thing has very beautifully come in your film. In fact, I felt so nostalgic yet again about my book. So many people are associated. But what exactly is happening is, like you, I also found when I was working with them while writing the book, that most of the small ventures like cooperative societies that were set up, they got indebted. If one member doesn't repay the loan, the entire bank account gets, it collapses. So they don't get further loan. If they borrow from the informal money lenders, the interest rate is high. So there is a huge cash crunch. And I don't think there is any reason why this cannot be actually, refueled by the government. There's so much of money floating, as you said. There are now developers, there are promoters, there are sponsors of Durga Puja. I mean, Durga Puja is the size of 3% of GDP of Bengal itself. And what is happening is this process, everybody knows, from puja committees to even the household residential societies, that they have a very immediate market. If Durga idol is not sold this season, it is very difficult for lack of space to preserve it. So people have to sell. As a result, I have seen this absolutely cold-blooded bargaining, where not even costs are covered and they are supposed to sell it then and there. So many of them they are not able to cover their cost. They are just selling to get some money, just keep the wheels going. So I also have brought out in my research that people feel that there is no economics in the whole trade. Nobody knows how much money has been borrowed, what is the outgoing interest, how much are they getting. All they know that their hands keep moving. And I'm sure the work which you have done, much more than a book, it will bring people more vividly, to the more closely to the issue. Yes, there are problems of space which cannot be solved in a city like Calcutta. But if they could have a space where they could preserve, or even we could have a situation where evolution of the art over decades could be preserved in some form, the entire image making could be given status of a heritage and some continuity. So I would like to also ask you that you have also dealt with this issue, different forms through which the image making has passed. You have met legendary makers like Ramesh Pal, I could see in the film. So would you like to mention some of your experiences about them, the legendary people who are in this, who are dealing with this form of art, and what do you feel about that part of your experiences in meeting people?
I think most of the living legends whom I met, they are a part of the exodus of East Bengal. When they were being ousted from East Bengal, they have settled over here. Ramesh Pal actually is an outsider in a sense that he was never given any space within the Kumartuli area. No, he has set up his own establishment outside the Kumartuli area. But whoever was within the Kumartuli area, as we have mentioned, that the loan payment, repayment is a big issue in this whole setup, because most of the women idol maker like China Pal and all that, one or two of them, women idol makers usually repay their loans. That is a very interesting thing. They repay their loans and they are getting government bank what you call the support all along. They pay their loan this year and then they get their loan next year. So that is not a problem with them. But many of the male members of the association, they, as you have said, that they have other vices, no, for which they spend the money and don't spend the money on the idol making. Also, one more thing that they have found a device, an opportunity to make images which is not made out of clay, and they do the images in fiberglass. Fiberglass images are very popular nowadays because these fiberglass images export what you call that possibilities are very high, and they, from most of the people are now make what you call the clay images and also fiberglass images. And also many other festivity which has come up in West Bengal, like Ganesh Puja, then other small festivity which are actually helping them to keep their what you call that fire running, no, meaning
Yes.
If they make
Yes.
those things, they can at least have the food for both the times. Otherwise, only making Durga idol is not enough for them. So that was one possibility has come up. But the major problem is that most of the idols which they prepare are not for the regular household people. No, there are some traditional houses who celebrate the Durga Pujas, but most of them are what you call we call it Barwari in English. What do you call that? Is a public community
pujas.
thing. But the point is that, say, an idol is being prepared this year and it costs, say, 60,000 rupees. So the what you call the puja committee will pay you 60,000 rupees. But next year, when your idol cost rises to 70,000 rupees,
Yes.
they say that we can't pay more than 60,000 rupees. At the most, we can give you 62,000 rupees. And that is a crisis for them because they can't bargain too much, because already they have built the images, they have already invested money. They do not get always a prior booking, no, for all the images. They make some extra images. And it is also very interesting that you have found out in the film that they start building up the images of Kali before they build before they make the Durga Puja. That because of the reason that there is very little space.
Yes, I have written the
puja
same
of,
thing in my book. It's interesting. Same thing I've written in my book.
Very, very
For
interesting.
lack of space, they build Kali first, and then they come to Durga.
Then to the thing.
They have to think of each inch of space they have to think about.
Yeah, and they have to have the space to store that Kalis also.
Yes.
Which I have mentioned, shown in the film. So they have to lift the thing and put it in the upper tier. No, they have spaces over there. And also the side dolls, they call it the other goddesses who the children of Durga.
Side putul, they call it.
Side putul, side dolls. They start making them before the Durga. Durga comes last. But
one thing I always wonder, I have noticed the same thing because I have worked with handloom weavers also. Yeah. When you are dealing with an artist, piece of art, the kind of brutal bargaining, same thing happens to weavers.
Yeah.
The way when you bargain with them, you don't look at the man days that has gone. A good sari, weaving of it in handloom may take a month. Nobody wants to pay for the price of labor and price of talent. Similarly, when they're spending so much money on pandals and electricity and so many things, I have seen this brutal bargaining standing on the roadside. It's terrible. Yes. If I pay in advance, I will cut that money while paying the final price. And then if I don't pay the advance, then I will bring the price down to a level which is 10% less than the last year. Why do we do this? I mean, there is something now that important, in Efron time, the political people are not associated so much with puja. But now the government, every important MLA or MP or minister is associated with the puja. They have to respect this. They have to say that, no, we cannot bring down this. There has to be a built-in calculation of inflation. Otherwise, there will be no profitability in this trade and we will lose all of them. Absolutely. I will ask you something about this film. How did you plan the music of this film? I mean, whatever music you have added, apart from the natural sights and sounds.
Yeah.
And how did you do recording on the roadside?
There was no such this. Most of the thing which is shot in the sync shooting, except the music I have recorded with the help of a music director. That is actually those music I have developed to enhance the mood of the sequence, no? Which was, I felt that not enough coming out with just the actual sound and the visual. So sometimes you take the help of music to create the emotional state of that shot, no, so that you feel engaged with the shot and you feel emotionally touched. Because eventually this is, though the film talks about the plight of these idol makers, but it is a hopeful film in a sense that when the film ends, we see that in spite of all these difficulties and the immersion and all these things has gone, then again the truck, what we call the
The
truckload of
bamboos are being taken.
muds and everything is coming and entering the Kumartuli.
It
So
is a
the life,
beautiful film. Beautiful film.
that cycle of life is on. No,
Mm.
there is a hope, because I must say that if there is anybody who can show it to the government, this film, it has not been shown because it was done by this Indira Gandhi National Center for Arts, which is a central body. They have few exhibitions or screening over there, and after the national screening they had few screening. But this film should be shown to this policy makers, no? Because recently there was a article in the Times of India where the British, what do you call that, secretary over here who has been appointed, new British commissioner, they were on a trip during the puja, and they had done some estimation through their accounts people and all that. They said that there's a huge potential of tourism of this Durga Puja festival, which can cover the cost of all the pandals and everything, that happening. So it can be actually a cost-free festivity, if you can properly present these images to the outsiders, because the foreigners, whoever comes to Calcutta, most of the foreigners are shown. One is the Victoria Memorial, another is the Writers Building, and the third one probably is the Kumartuli. And Kumartuli, when they go, they are amazed by the capacity and the quality of the image makers. They cannot imagine. I had talked with one of the sculptor, a famous sculptor of Germany. She came and she studied from them how to build these structures, that made of bamboos. And she was telling me that how they can figure out the how long and how short the images should be, what are the dimensions should be, just as a close distance or 1 feet distance. It is impossible. You have to go back and watch it and then figure it out. But they are immensely talented, because this,
in fact, these are mentioned in my book, that this entire exercise of space management on a small platform, you not only have Durga, then she is standing on the lion, then you have the buffalo, out of which Mahishasura has come, and then they are fighting. And this entire thing has been built on a platform which is so small, and then you have to also predict what form it will finally take. And they don't even have space in the studio to move back and see. Well, how much skill has been stored over generations in this? This
how
skill
can
has to
judge
be
it?
preserved. But I know one thing we are mentioning, unfortunately, the way policies are made, our budgeting is never, sector specific. Like, even if you get a lot of revenue from Durga Puja and say viewing of Kumartuli, that money has to go back to them. That needs a specific process which the government has to approve. That this money we have generated, this money will be spent like this. Government, it never happens like that. We pull all the resources. Then sectors which are more money or power hungry, they take away the money. So this is very unfortunate. One thing I wanted to ask you, I don't know where this film went. When I was at Rupkala Kendra, a little before that, my book was published. And Gautam Ghosh, as his first assignment to encourage the students of Rupkala Kendra, had made a documentary. I've seen that. Image Makers of Kolkata, from my book. I was a script writer. He was the director. Unfortunately, the film was not shown anywhere, but it was a very beautiful film. I don't know whether you had a chance to see this.
No, I haven't.
That film somehow has been erased somewhere from the, the face of the earth, because I think people who succeeded us in the institution, they were just unmindful, and we lost a great work, because he associated all of us, the students, everybody, and we actually got an image built so that the film could be shot, and it was kept in our studio. So it was interesting. But please tell me, did you expect the kind of appreciation and acknowledgement the film got? It got a national award and its viewership. What did you think?
National award, you see that. For me, it's not something very big, because I know that these awards are, it's an ephemeral kind of thing for me. It's okay. I got it. That's good. I also got a national award next year also for another film. But the point is that national award may be good for me, but it's nothing to do with these people. No, they are not benefited. That was my point, because I made a show in Max Fuller Bhavan after the national award, and I invited all the image makers who are involved in the film to the platform, and I allowed them to talk. And they
that's very nice.
I allowed them to talk about it after the film, because there were lots of people, quite a lot of people in the room. The auditorium was full, and then I was quite happy when they said that we have seen many films on Kumartuli, but this film represents us in true sense. So we are very happy that he has shown in what condition we are, how we are suffering, and what are the promises given to us, and how the promises has been broken. So all these things they have said. So I was very happy that they came out with all this thing. I think that government has a role to play, because this is not a dying art form. This is an art
not
form.
at all.
This is not a dying art form. This is an art form which thrives. But point is that they should support the people who create these beautiful images. But there are possibilities. You know, that main problem with Kumartuli was that the confinement of the space, which was for the last 250 years ago, that space given by the Jamindars of these people to make the images, that space cannot be expanded. So what you can do, you have to raise the space, build layers, no, maybe 2-tier, 3-tier, and then you make a space for making the images, you make a space for their living, you make a space for the museum where the visitors come, and you can earn some money from that if you visit those places. And also you can have a space for doing further research, how to minimize the cost, how the building of these images can be taken out of the traditional way to save some kind of eco-friendly and all the stuff. Because when you are digging the mud from the riverside, now it is banned. No, you are not allowed to dig mud from the riverside, because you are damaging the embankment of the river. So they go in incognito, I would say, that at night, and steal the mud from the riverbank. No, and that mud is very important for them, because that etel mati we call it.
Yes.
If you don't get that, you can't make
it. It is now full of glass pieces and other waste. So sorting out that mud with hand also has become very risky.
It is very difficult. So they have to go to a virgin place, no, wherever it's not being here. And also transporting them is also a issue, because not many boats are available nowadays for this kind of mud transportation.
In fact, what sorry to interrupt you, but what you did, making them come over and see the film, it reminds me of our narrowcast days of Rupkala Kendra, where we would actually invite people. Like, we made a film on Sundarbans, and we invited the men and women from there, Shona Mati Lona Jal. We invited them to Nandan and showed them the film, and they all gave us suggestions like, this should have been like this, and this is not correct, or whatever they felt about the film. So I think one good quality of your film, very interesting quality, is that you made it very transparent. You have not imposed yourself as a director at all.
No.
You have let the things come up very naturally. So that is what they must have liked, that there is no distortion because of your perception. It is as if their life and they're speaking about it themselves. I think this is a very important quality of the film. So what is your plan now that you have come to the close of the discussion? What do you want to do? Because this festival again, revived discussion about it. And there's a chance that you can again talk to the new setup of people who are looking after culture and art in West Bengal, and also the MSME sector, the medium and small industry sector. What did you propose to do?
I can't propose anything. I can only, as a filmmaker, make a film, and that film should be shown to them, because they, as you have been moved by the film, as you have mentioned, that the transparent way, because actually I did not impose any of my views in the film. Only thing that commentary comes in when this making process is being taught.
Siddharth, I think we lost the link.
You may continue, I think.
Uh-huh.
Hope you are able to, I can hear. Please continue, yeah.
No,
please.
I was talking to Mr. Ray, so
Yeah.
I would like him to come back with his
Okay,
voice.
okay.
He was telling about more people seeing the film and how it was.
I understand. In any case, by the time they rectify the, this thing, I think let's keep the dialogue or the conversation rolling. Like.
Yes, I think there must be some power failure, technical difficulty.
Yeah, could be. It could be internet disruption. He'll should soon come back, but let me carry on with what I was saying.
Yeah, please. So that, yeah.
I mean, I was saying
Later, if you're online,
that there is a chance to revive the dialogue around the film. And this time, if there is a way, because ultimately, this is a film with real people and real problems, apart from real beauty. And obviously, as a filmmaker, though he is not the person in charge of actions, he would like that there should be some intervention in this sphere of art so that life goes on properly. And with dignity, people can continue with art. So I was thinking that connecting this to my book, which is not only about the Kumartuli area, but also about the people who are working in different parts of the city and the suburbs in the same profession. If we could have some way of, building a concept of all of them, where some places they may need space, somewhere they may need more money, they may need, more incentive to continue. I think there's a possibility. Mr. Ray is coming back.
Okay,
yes.
okay, yeah, please.
So, yeah.
I just got disconnected. I don't know how.
No, we did not proceed much. I was saying the same thing as you were saying, that this time, if there is a way of communicating to anybody, we should probably talk not only about Kumartuli, but also, image makers working in different parts of the city, like Potuapada, where I was born in my childhood.
Kalighat.
And Kalighat, then Beleghata. These are all small areas. Then you're near Damdam, Baguyati. Small places, and their needs may be different. Some people may need more money. Some people may need more space. Some people may need some better marketing or intervention. So I think a view on the totality can be taken. Yes, you are right that you can't do more than this, but to hope that people see it. I think there is a good opportunity of the film being shown once again in Kolkata and being some discussion.
No, because I had a plan to do a film with a boy who was in the beginning of the film, who was being asked. I asked him that why you are here. He said, I can't stay at home because there are no friends there. So I came to Kumartuli. So I thought of catching up one boy of that age who has come to Kumartuli, and because all his friends has left the village, and they are most of them are working in around Kumartuli.
Yes.
I want to follow that boy for at least 2 to 3 years, so that he grows up within the Kumartuli, and I come to know the experience of his experience. Because
it will be a feature film.
It looks like, because nowadays you see that most of the documentaries have gradually getting the feel of the fiction, because now most of the documentaries, internationally good documentaries, are character based driven, no? So you choose a character who represents your thought or the idea, and you follow the character, and through the character you reveal everything. So it becomes much more valuable and believable, because just narrating on the third voice, we used to call it the voice of God. So that is not enough, because that can be manipulated. Those information could be manipulated. It is only when the information comes from the mouth of an actual performer, then we tend to believe that he's actually, since he is a real person in a real space, so he's probably saying the truth. So now most of the interesting documentaries are character driven. Here I have many small characters, but I have not followed them entire film from beginning to end. I have come to them for my purposes as a section of the sequences. So my intention was later to follow one child who has come, and also his father, because his father was in the profession, and he didn't want his son to come over here because he knew that it's not going to pay. And most of the, it must be information to you that most of the image makers' son, they are not following their father's footsteps.
Yes. Some of them are not.
Yes.
But you know, your this new film, I hope you start making it soon. It reminds me again of my novel Akal Bodhon, which has been translated to English as The Awakening. It is a novel again about a boy, but he's a Dalit potter. You know, he did not go to the traditional, livelihood of his parents, which is making things of leather. He used to run away to Kumartuli and started learning from Rampal. Then he became a potter himself, but he was not given space inside Kumartuli because it's not a pal. So he continued in Beleghata, and he had struggled really a lot through his life to establish himself as an artist. So this novel is based in the 70s, Calcutta of the 70s, which is basically life of an image maker, also the Calcutta of the 70s. I know this conflict tone Calcutta, both the things. So your new idea reminds me of that. It would be a wonderful film. Why don't you start making it now?
Yeah, I have to find out the character. I have to go and find out the boy, no?
You will
I want
to
find a space, no? The boy has to be interesting.
Yes.
Meaning that his background has to be very interesting.
Yes.
Otherwise, it won't work.
I think we have come to the close of the discussion.
Okay.
Unless you want to add anything to it, Mr.
No,
Ray.
I think it was a quite wonderful what you call the interaction with you. Thank you very much to know you.
I'm very happy that I got connected to both you and to Mr. Vijayan and Siddharth, and it gives me connectivity to Kerala also for future, which I'm going to, and encash in right time. And I can meet Mr. Ray.
I think a physical presence would have been better. Maybe next time.
Next time.
Yeah, if I can just intervene and say a couple of things. Yes, it was an illuminating and engrossing discussion, and maybe the shortage of time, because of that we had to curtail such a lively discussion. And during the course of the discussion, the economics behind, or the impact, what impinges on their life, and two or three valid points which emerged, if I can say, out of that. One is that whatever money is generated from that, at least a part of it should be pumped back to to the welfare of these people, which unfortunately is not happening, and it's really tragic. And another thing which Anita, you mentioned was regarding the bargaining aspect. See, you go to a very big mall, and there you don't bargain.
You can't bargain.
Yes.
You can't bargain. You can't bargain.
You can't also. So they fix up an inflated rate, and you happily pay them, and you swipe your card and take that. Whereas at all these micro level, all these poor people, all of us, maybe at some point of time, we all indulge in such a inhuman, if I can describe, which is very bad. And then, Ranajit, I would like to, congratulate you on your humane gesture of inviting some of the artists to Max Muller Bhavan, which is really indeed a very, very wonderful act of yours.
But next time offline, please.
Yeah, and if we, maybe in a space of 3 years or so, we have planned to have a festival on the banks of the river Bharatapura, or Nila as it is called. So in a full moon night by the riverside. So we, and definitely we hope to have you all with us on that occasion. And let me.
So you are being recorded, so that's a promise, right?
Exactly, of course. And provided all we get the support, and because on this online festival, it's not so much, I mean, a liability per se, but conducting an offline without, I mean, financial assistance
Don't worry,
or
we'll get it
sponsorship.
on. Don't
Yes,
worry.
yes. With support of people like you, that will enrich our this thing. And before saying goodbye, let me thank IGNCA for sparing the film and showing it as part of this panorama. And let me just remind everyone that the festival will, this is panorama section. Now the competition section will be held on October 29th, 30th and 31st, as also November 5th, 6th and 7th, Friday to Sunday, and the first week of November, where we will be screening some 12 films. And we hope to have interactions with the respective filmmakers, with some distinguished invitees. And so from the core of our heart, NIFI would like to thank both of you for being with us and making this a live, wonderful discussion. So thank you, and best wishes to Ranajit Ray for your future or your future projects. And we hope to see you in person sometime and the other. And Anita ma'am will definitely like to utilize your vast experience and your assistance to conducting NIFI's future activities. And in fact, we plan to have a year-long activities. It's not that you conduct a festival for fixed days and then you forget it and only wake up in the next year. No, we plan to have, we want to make it this continuous ongoing process.
Okay.
So that's it. Okay. So please do join. Keep watching in the Facebook of NIFI and YouTube, where we will be uploading the programs. As also we'll be showing all these programs live in Facebook. So please do join us there and support us and enjoy the films. And
thank you so
ultimately,
much.
at least some awareness will be created among the people, the need to protect and preserve such a valuable, and so most of them are very intangible, our heritage, precious heritage.
Tangible heritage.
Yeah, let's hope so. And so